Welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is Thursday, July 29, 2021. A lot of big headlines today. Often is on a Thursday. But before we get into it, I just want to start with this headline of the day, caught by Ray on Free to Find Truth. He says, let's be honest. If after 18 months you still think this is about a virus, then there's every chance you'll believe this headline. And the headline is from Forbes, and it says, why speaking English may spread more coronavirus than some other languages. Oh, man. I think we get the inside joke on that one. And yes, last night's TFR episode was taken down by YouTube as soon as the stream ended. They obviously didn't want it out there. And I can't even appeal it. It's the first video that's ever been taken down where I can't even do an appeal. There's nowhere to appeal. So they said it was a copyright violation. It's like, well, what was different about this past week's show from any show? You know, I always mute out and chop out the music on the commercial breaks so we don't get the copyright. I did that last night. And yeah, I guess I'm surprised they took down that episode. I think that could have been an episode that my enemies would have loved. So many examples to make me look bad in it. But yeah, YouTube didn't want it out there, so I've been trying to upload it to BitChute, and BitChute's doing its same old game. It just never gets through processing. I hate BitChute. Remember in BitChute's money goal was at 90-some%, and then all of a sudden they took it away and nothing changed about the website? Now all of a sudden, like months later, it's back and it's at 79%. Your video's being processed, can't get through in 24 hours. It's just, I can't get it through BitChute, and what else is weird is I can't get it to upload to Odyssey either, because I have the video downloaded, it's just... And I need my website guy to figure out how to make the videos that I can upload bigger storage, because a 3-hour video is too big. I can upload most stuff to my website. Like if it was an hour video, I could upload it. I guess I could figure out how to chop it up maybe and upload it that way. Maybe that's the solution. Just do it in parts. But yeah, the way our website is, there's a maximum length size to it. And yeah, that's another thing I need remedied. But anyway, I'm having trouble getting up last night's TFR episode. If you missed it, you might have just missed it. The censorship is real. And with that said, you know, today, big news headline for the USA. We won a gold medal, the Asian American in the year of Asian Americans in athletics, Sunisa Lee. And, you know, when I looked at this news, I'd already been doing my sports decodes for the day. It's a 57-date numerology. Coincidentally, Sunisa Lee scored a 57 to win it, you know, on the 57 date. But then, again, Gematria, her name, Sunisa Lee, equals 57, right? 57. And if you're looking at that and going, well, you're looking at 4 values of her name, so maybe that's how you're getting it. It's just true. I am looking at 4 values of her name. The alphabetic order, the reverse alphabetic order, the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology, the reverse alphabetic order with the rules of numerology. So that gives us 4 values for her name. Correct. That's a correct observation. Does that mean we can cover every number on the board? You know, at roulette, I said if you could have 4 numbers every time, how many numbers are on the roulette wheel? 36, right? So you'd cover 1 out of 9 spaces. Guess what? There's way more spaces on the roulette board of Gematria because it could be a number up to 1,000 and something, right? So her name, 57, on a 57-date numerology, scores a 57, winning a gold. And remember, this is a number of significance, too. Number a lot of entertainers die at. Entertainer equals 57, which is ultimately what these athletes are. You know, glorified entertainers, athletic entertainers. It's a big Jesuit number. You know, Georgetown, the 57 university, established the year George Washington turned 57, 1789. But again, this is more than a number. But here we are on the 57 date. We got a gold medal for Sunisa Lee as an Asian American. And remember who just went out in the 59 ritual? Simone Biles, right? 59, connected to the name Lee as well. Simone Biles exit the stage. Now the focus in USA Gymnastics is an Asian American in the year of Asian American rituals. And remember, this is why we thought Matsuyama had a great shot to win the Masters. Again, Matsuyama did win the Masters. We thought he had a great shot before it began. He got the green jacket 45 days after his birthday. Whole lot more to it. It would blow your mind what they did with old Matsuyama. Again, the Masters in Georgia right after the targeted shootings in Georgia of Asians at spa parlors that began a conversation about racism towards Asian Americans, especially in the wake of Donald Trump blaming the coronavirus on Asians, calling it the China virus. again, you guys can just see how all so themed this is. You got to get Simone Biles out of the way, who already won her 7th record championship here in the States this year, wearing goats all over her leotard like Brady became the GOAT after winning his 7th this year. I mean, just the obvious symbolism and patterns. But you learn Gematria and you go, wow. Okay, she scores a 57 on a 57 date numerology, and not only that, but her name is 57, you know? And again, people who are not very smart will be like, well, he used 4 ciphers, so, it could have just, he probably could make anything and line up with anything. It's like, no. Every time I type in Sunisa Lee, it's going to equal this, I could have told you a similar story on the 105th day of the year, the 138th day of the year, a date with 33 numerology. I could. But again, she scored a 57 today, too. And realize you'd have to wait several days for all these things to happen. So very low percentage odds of it lining up like it does like this day after day after day. And we're going to talk about many more examples today. Wait until we get to the racist German cycling coach. How many people have died on bicycles this year in the world of celebrity? There's something going on with there's some joke I'm not getting with the bicycles this year. R.I.P. to Mr. Eaton and several others. But, Sunisa Lee, and just this other stuff, too. Today has 57 date numerology. Look at this headline right next to it. Some people in Missouri are getting shots in secret. They're embarrassed to get the COVID vaccine. Okay. Missouri in Gematria equals 57 and 42, right? And vaccine. 42, 57, right? We've been talking about patterns all year with the vaccine in 57 and 42. So on the 57 date numerology, a story about Missouri and the vaccine, and you just think this is a organic, this is a coincidence? No, this is programming. Programming, programming computers, numbers, programming the human mind. Guess what? It's numbers. It's clearly numbers. All comes from Kabbalah. But, just right there in your face, the 57 stories. A week ago, we were talking about Bismarck, he at age 57, how it's all synced up with Just a Friend. In that video, he's wearing the Georgetown sweatshirt, the music video, Georgetown 57, Jesuits behind all this, every last drop of it. And also Israel, with the 3rd vaccine coming. Israel in the news today, 57 is a big number with, Judaism. This whole practice is Jewish. But Jews is 57, moon is 57. The Jews identify through the moon because it disappears in the night sky only to become full again. Again, they say that represents their history of being persecuted and nearly wiped from the face of the earth only to come back stronger. Again, all the Jewish holidays are synced up with the moon. Again, you learn this code, you see that the whole thing's synced up. The calendar, the moon, the sun, the language. But okay, also in the news, Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson tests positive for COVID-19 yesterday. Yesterday had 56 date numerology. You had the Nationals playing the Philadelphia Phillies with a big coronavirus outbreak. Supposedly 12 people connected to the Nationals had coronavirus. 12 while playing Philadelphia. I think I get the joke. Have you ever seen the movie 12 Monkeys set in Philadelphia about a virus that, wipes out a bunch of people and changes the world forever? You never seen 12 Monkeys with Bruce Willis and Brad Pitt? That's what that film's about. 12 Monkeys, Philadelphia. Nationals, Philadelphia. Important cities in the nation's history. On the 56th date, Washington, D.C., 56. Again, if you guys are new here, there are 4 ciphers, but really, you only need to know this one. If you know this one, you can almost see everything. You would have missed the Sunisa Lee 57 thing today, but again, if you could only have one cipher, it's this one. Coronavirus 56. Last night, Lester Hull. Tonight, a shooting at the Corona Theater at the Forever Purge screening. Just like, listen to these headlines. Listen to the way this robot reads it to you. Like you're some kind of fucking moron. Really, the Corona Theater? Kobe Bryant buried in Corona Del Mar on a fateful trip from Catholic Church. By the way, Kobe buried in Corona Del Mar at the time of coronavirus. Corona Del Mar 56. Remember, all of you were worried you'd never be able to wipe your ass again. Toilet paper 56. The Corona's got all the paper sold out. We're just the alphabetic order. Paper's 56. But this is the alphabetic order and rules numerology. COVID vaccine is 56. And, Anthony Fauci's 56. And, Washington, D.C., 56. Anthony Fauci's name is the exact same as Washington, D.C. in all 4 ciphers. Mr. Jesuit D.C., who's been in power since 84, like George Orwell's 84. But, again, just all the 56 stuff. So the Nationals get coronavirus. Lamar Jackson, who's in Baltimore, not far from, D.C., gets coronavirus. And just right away, you got to go, okay. So, yeah, I've been saying for over a year, there's 1 of 2 teams that's going to be in the Super Bowl for the AFC this year, and one of those 2 teams is the Ravens. The other one's not too hard to predict. But from his coronavirus diagnosis to the Super Bowl is 201 days. And, 201's just been huge in sports again and again and again. It's not losing much. We just saw the Bucs win the Super Bowl with Tom Brady's 201 passing yards. Then they're with Biden on the 201st day of the year getting congratulated as the Bucs win the NBA Finals for Jesuit Town, Milwaukee, where Marquette is. Again, know your Jesuit cities. Milwaukee's one of them. But, 201 days from the Super Bowl there from Lamar Jackson. Almost reminds you that Event 201 was the very Jesuit coronavirus pandemic simulation 1 month before the outbreak in Wuhan, China, that started all the Asian racism, that started Asians just taking over the world of sports, from golf to gymnastics. And, shout out to all the Asian people. It's nothing against you guys. I'm just saying, just pay attention how these agendas are waged. If you missed my video on Matsuyama, go back and watch it. It'll blow your mind. Shout out to young Ben, who's a real golfer, who's been with the community since he was in high school. He had more confidence in Matsuyama than I did on day 1. I liked him on day 1, but Ben thought he was the guy on day 1, and Ben was dead on. Ben's been with us since high school. And, this last tournament, the Open in the UK, before the tournament began, we thought, there were 3 guys who had a shot to win it, and one of them was Morikawa, who was 40-1. Another was the favorite, who wasn't as interesting. Again, you go for golf, you want those big odds, 40-1. It's like, you bet $1, you win $40. You only had to risk $1 to make 40. I can eat for a whole week well, making good quality food for $40 for myself on a $1 bet. That's the beauty of Gematria. But again, 2 of these major tournaments, we saw the riddles with the Asian golfers. It was easier in the Masters because it was in Georgia and it was right after the shooting. It was like, yeah, this seems like definitely what they're doing. But, Morikawa had a great riddle. And remember what they did with Morikawa last year? He won the PGA Championship on the anniversary of the bombing in Nagasaki. They just did a huge Pearl Harbor ritual with Matsuyama, synced up with everything from the Prime Minister to the Emperor of Japan to the Governor of Georgia. And if you think that's a farce, go back and look at what we documented. It's just like when Kobe died. It was synced up with the Emperor and Prime Minister and literally the establishment of Kobe Japan, which was on April 1st, 4-1, like Kobe Bryant's 41 in the most pure cipher. Again, this is why this is the one cipher. If you can only have one, this is the one to have. Kobe Bryant, 41, dead at 41. My first book talked all about Kobe and 41. But remember, you need the 4-base ciphers. Kobe died on his 157th day of his age. His whole life is 113, 41, 157 rituals. Some 58. Los Angeles Lakers is 58. But again, you need all these ciphers. The National Basketball Association 113, Michael Jordan 113, Utah Jazz 113, Deer Basketball 113. The Utah Jazz are the only 113 team in the league. The full name, the only other team of the 30 teams that has a 113 connection in any cipher is Dallas. Dallas equals 113. Just like coronavirus pandemic, go back and look at March 11, 2020, the pandemic. Coronavirus pandemic 113, the National Basketball Association 113. The pandemic declared 11/3 the day the NBA locked down because of the Utah Jazz player Rudy Gobert. And the Dallas played that day too. Dallas scored 113 points in their game on March 11th. But only 2. So again, for all of you who think because there's 4 ciphers, you can just get whatever you want. Again, 30 teams in the NBA, 4 ciphers. That's 120 numerical values. 120. 2 of those 120 equal 113. Utah Jazz 113. Dallas 113. That's 1 in 60, which is about 1.5% odds. So you mean to tell me on March 11th that the pandemic, you guys see what I'm saying? And Dallas scores 113 points. Again, you're talking about 1.5% odds times 1.5% odds times the day of the year being that day. There's 2 days in the year that could be 3/11, November 3rd and March 11th. So you're talking about 1 in 182.5 odds times 1.5%. I mean, that's a fraction of a percent times 1.5% times 1.5%. That's the odds of all those things coming together on that day. But it happens all the time in the NBA. because it's manipulated. That's why the critics, they're mathematically retarded. They're like, I need somebody, your brain, everybody's brain should be able to figure out the improbability of what we're exposing every day. Sunisa Lee, 57, scores a 57 on the 57 date numerology. I need a professor to tell me if that's a coincidence. Does it sound like a coincidence, moron, when I'm here every fucking day showing you the same fucking shit? Did I not show how exposed the Olympics were back in 2016? I mean, we shredded it. I mean, calling things, I'm not even invested in doing it this year. I mean, I did that back in 2016. Been there, done that. That still didn't wake up the world, and back then I could actually get some goddamn views. I'm tired of having to prove my point every day, but I'm like, where the fuck is humanity at? Like, why aren't they figuring out that this shit's not a coincidence? Kobe dead at age 41 on his 157th day of his age. 1 month before his fatal accident, he's in the news for helping out at a car accident 113 days after his birthday. I mean, come on, man. That is why a lot of people woke up, though, because of the Kobe example. But giving examples like that about a million things more important than Kobe, and that's real, because, I mean, Kobe's really not that important at the end of the day. He's a fucking entertainer, but that's where everyone's mind's at. And people just, they don't get it. But yeah, Lamar Jackson, 201 days from the Super Bowl, 102nd NFL season. Coronavirus on the 56 date numerology. Remember what they just did with the Red Sox Yankees? The Yankees got coronavirus, right? And then they paused the game, and then they played it the next day. And that day, the Red Sox picked up their 56th win of the season and became 7-0 against the Yankees for the year. Coronavirus 56-70. By the way, the Asian American woman who just won the gold medal today, she wins it 142 days after her birthday, right? That's the way the dominoes fell. Racism towards Asians accelerated because you had people blaming Asians for COVID, this thing that's had so many consequences for the world, and realize all the people that get caught up in this psychological mindset and fall for this, they allow it to happen because they believe the things that lie to them every day, the radio, the TV, the papers, and you have to be brain dead to not know that these things are lying to you every single day and trying to steer you down the path of agendas and narratives. But again, it's all symbolic. It's all ritual. The Olympics are in Japan, in Asia. We have a racist German headline today from the Olympics. The cycling coach kicked out for being a racist. The racist German with the Olympics in Japan. Most Americans don't even know that Germany and Japan were probably allies in World War II. They know what haircut the latest celebrity has, but God forbid you ask about anything else, man. It's just consumer culture. But yeah, just all these numbers have been used so ritualistically in sports. The NBA locked down last year, March 11th, a perfect day, but 142 days after the season began. And then it resumed 142 days later. And there's been just a million more of all these. All these numbers get used ritualistically with coronavirus. Yesterday, the Nationals supposedly had coronavirus yesterday. Yesterday, the Nationals were plus 155. That was, if you bet on the Nationals yesterday, the game got canceled, but the Nationals paid plus 155. That means if you bet 100, had the Nationals won yesterday, they would have played 155. Look it up. That's a fact. I have a documented screenshot from our sports stream. So that's why I laughed. I was like, wow. On the day that they're plus 155, they end up having a coronavirus outbreak. It's like, these people are fucking clowns, man. So, anyway, Lamar Jackson, 201 days from the Super Bowl. Remember what just happened. The Bucks won the NBA Finals on the day that the Bucks were at the White House, the 201st day of the year. Giannis started whooping Atlanta's ass 201 days after his birthday. But in baseball, the Rays were on 55 wins to start that day, like the Bucks were getting remembered for Super Bowl 55, and the Rays got their 56th win, beating Baltimore that day. And Ravens is 83 like football, and some actor, athlete that way too many people think is the greatest football player there ever was because they don't see that the NFL is a soap opera. He even has a chance to become 8-3 at Super Bowls at age 44 on the 44th day of the year after the Lightning go back-to-back, and Lightning equals 44 in Gematria. And last year, they won the Stanley Cup exactly 44 days after Tom Brady's town burnt up in a lightning storm on the Jesuit birthday, August 15th. Okay, now with regards to sports, and by the way, don't forget, again, I'm just going to bring up, I'm always going to bring up this article to prove my point. Wacko YouTuber approves World Series is rigged. Again, this article written by the asshole Sean Newell of Vice News about yours truly, making fun of what I revealed about rigged sports, rigged weather, how it's all been admitted to since 52, and how they synced up the Astros over the Dodgers with the flooding of Harvey, which we predicted when it happened. And again, 52 connects to flood, earth, hurricane. This year, the Tampa Bay Lightning, last year they were synced up with weather warfare. This year, they win their 52nd game in the Stanley Cup on the day Hurricane Elsa passes over Tampa. I mean, really? This is from 2017. Now we're talking about what happened in 2021, and from then up to now, we've been documenting the same shit over and over. How many times have we called out the date there's going to be mass flooding, hurricanes landing, storms in the news because of 52? And then just another huge one. Last year, I'm talking about the lightning and weather warfare. This year, I'm talking about the lightning and weather warfare. How the same Jesuits control the whole show. Government, entertainment, military, and all that military technology is, including things like HAARP in Alaska, the technology that is admitted to have the power to create earthquakes. So here's what I think about this. Alaska had its worst earthquake in a long time last night. And it was at 8.2. And that's a big number with Seattle. And, of course, the closest city to Alaska is Seattle. If you've never been to Seattle, a lot of people go there just to take a cruise up to Alaska. A lot of people fly into Seattle, go right to the port, and take a big cruise ship up to Alaska. And the thing is, the Pacific Northwest, where I've grown up my whole life, they've been warning us all this time that we're going to suffer the worst earthquake in the history of, recorded major cities and tall buildings. And what's going on in Seattle right now is they just got this new hockey team, right? The Seattle Kraken. And a kraken's a big monster that comes from the ocean, like a tsunami, right? And here, I'm going to go, well, just look at this. Look at how they start, right? They start by saying the very strong quake was located about 56 miles. Did you guys just see the reports of 56 mile per hour winds at the Olympics as well? That was big nightly news just a few days ago. 56 mile per hour winds tormenting the Olympics. But again, about 56? When? Since when is it about 56? I could understand about 50, about 55. We talking fives, we talking tens, about 56? Come on, man. The very strong quake was located about 56 miles southeast of Perryville. So then I had to look and I said, oh, okay. So this happened on a 56 date numerology. This happened Wednesday, July 28th, 21. Same day we had the coronavirus outbreak, right? But in Perryville. So it's about 56 miles from Perryville. Oh, well, there goes Zach again with his 4-base ciphers, cherry picking, making up things. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? Oh, fuck me. I just noticed Perryville equals 142 as well. I skipped the 142. Well, I'm going to show you how 142 fits in because that's exactly what I'm fucking worried about. With the Seattle Kraken. Jesus, I didn't even notice that. Okay. Some of you guys who are veterans already know what I'm going to say. Veterans know what I'm going to say already. But again, Seattle's 82, right? Lance McCullers just killed it for us the other night, getting to 8-2 versus Seattle. That's how they do it. I'm telling you, 4 years ago, man, it was just like that way almost every fucking time. It's like now sometimes they have things like that and it doesn't come through and it's frustrating. And it's because more people know about this now because I've been teaching it every year and proving how it's winning knowledge. It's obviously now they code a lot of games where it's like, okay, felt like they said it's the bait tonight or there was too much money. But again, you can count on these things. Look at how perfect it is to get your 8th win against Seattle and become 8-2. Again, from the beginning, the only 2 ciphers we knew. You want to know all these ciphers. Seattle's 82-19 with the alphabetic order and the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology. 19's the 8th prime. So if you win and get your 8th win and become 8-2 in Seattle, well, that's the kind of riddle you like when you're looking at rigged sports. McCullers the other night. From Houston. That's who was playing Seattle when this happened too. Houston, who had the most fucked up weather event on... God, I just was thinking about the 142 thing, man. Remember what day Houston got fucked up? 14/2, right? 142. And we had Valentine's circled at the beginning of the year for a potential day for blackouts and crazy weather. But notice in reverse, again, you got to know your base ciphers. Seattle's 107 and 44 in reverse, and Earthquake is 107 and 44. Seattle got wasted last night by Houston as well. on the day of this earthquake. But remember, Earthquake 107, Jose Canseco's full name 107, from his birthday to the World Series earthquake was 107 days later, and he was the last thing shown on the television screen before it cut to fuzz from the earthquake. Again, been talking about all this stuff for years. So, anyway, you got the Seattle Kraken. You just had the expansion draft for the Kraken days ago. This monster from the ocean. You have a city, Seattle, where PBS did a video in 2010 about the earthquake coming to Seattle, and they even simulated with computers what it would look like, how buildings could even fall. What's crazy is they've really built up Seattle since then. If Seattle comes down in some crazy, if a lot of Seattle skyline gets fucked up in some crazy event, it could be that the newer buildings survive, but they want to get rid of the older downtown that's all smaller, and they want to build it up. An earthquake would just wipe that shit right out, and then they could build some more skyscrapers there. I mean, it could be like that. But Seattle, they've been projecting a bad earthquake for that city for a long time. My entire lifetime. Again, I don't know. I haven't seen anything else about PBS. PBS did an hour thing on the earthquake coming to Seattle in 2010. It made me anxious living up here because I was in Seattle. I was just like, God. That's part of the reason I wanted to get on the other side of the mountains. I'm now east of the mountains because they say when it comes, it's going to be a lot worse on the west side, out more by the ocean. But I don't know if we're out of harm's way here. I mean, I'm not that far from Seattle. I'm on the other side of the mountains just barely, but anyway, 8.2. Seattle's playing Houston, which I see as a bad sign. This Kraken thing, I've been knowing this Kraken thing is a bad sign. And yeah, just the way they code it. And the 56 thing, here's what we're getting to. You see how natural disaster is 56? It's also 223. We just saw Perryville is 142, right? And Seattle Kraken, it's 142. And the day coming up is August 11th, the 223rd day of the year, the day leaving 142 days remaining. Natural disaster 223. That's the day in history that the technology for HARP was patented. And HARP is in Alaska, the military technology that has the power to create earthquakes. And its abbreviation is HARP, H-A-A-R-P, 44. Earthquake is 44. Military is 44. Seattle's got that 44. And the other thing that's worrisome about HARP is the 91. When you run the alphabetical order in reverse, that's the 13th triangular number. How many days is it from July 28th to August 11th? It's 13 days. Actually, hold on. Did I count wrong? I actually counted wrong. All right, maybe breathe the sigh of relief there. Okay, I'm glad it's not that way. The news is really getting out there today, though, because it happened late. When it happened, it was already today on the East Coast. So it's still something to think about. But today's the news is really getting around because it happened late last night. From today's news to August 11th is 13 days. I think that's what I counted by accident at first. But yeah, it's just, I missed the Perryville thing. Perryville's 142 like Seattle Kraken, but again, August 11th. The other thing that's funny is Jenny Durkin, this little Jesuit pawn, the 56th mayor of Seattle, from her birthday to the August 11th is 2 months and 23 days later, or 84 days, the Jesuit number. And she's the 56th mayor again. So I just wonder. Mariners is 56. Again, they got shellacked by Houston last night. And remember, Houston won the World Series after the Hurricane Harvey by the numbers, and that was their 56th season. The year the Astros beat the Dodgers in the World Series, their first and only World Series win was their 56th season. So, yeah, I just wonder. And, yeah, old Jenny there. So we'll see. They got a quake synced up with her. Will there be a Seattle quake in the near future? Could it be on August 11th? Again, the reason that's a very possible day is because these people who do this shit are very ritualistic, and that is the day in history that HARP was created, August 11th, 87. That means it's going to turn 34 this year on that day. Maybe we have to wait until it turns 44. Let's hope we got 10 more years. But, again, that's the 223rd day of the year. Natural disasters 223. This is the technology with the capability to essentially simulate to make happen what we would think is a natural disaster. And don't forget what happened in LA the other year on July 4th. Remember, energy is 74, weapon is 74, nuclear 74. They said the epicenter of that earthquake on July 4th was on the military base. And again, holidays 74 and Independence Day is 74. So, yeah, I was having an eruption on my show last night, and as it concluded, then the 8.2 magnitude went off in Alaska. Oh, man. I got that song on the commercial break, that Tool song. Maynard wants to watch it all go right in, man. He's ready for the ocean to flush it all in. He's sick of these people on this planet. I mean, that's why I have that song. That's why I have that song on the commercial break. Because that's exactly what I've been wanting to see for a long time, man. A lot of these people just need to get flushed down the toilet. There's good people in Seattle, but man, if that city went under, I'll tell you what. Like, good people shouldn't be in that city. If all the good people could get out, a whole lot of shit would just go right down the drain at once. Seattle's got, again, I haven't been everywhere, but man, Seattle's got the shittiest people I ever saw. So, yeah, the monster. This is how they do it, you guys. Sports, media, news, mockery, 9/11, Patriot Act. The Patriots win everything. Hurricane Katrina, another story that made no sense. Saints Super Bowl winners. Harvey, Houston. It's just, year after year. Lightning last year. Lightning. It's just, it's sick what they do, you guys. Yeah, Seattle playing Houston the night of this. Don't forget it. And again, Houston hit on 14/2. Perryville 142. Seattle cracking 142. August 11th, leaving 142 days left in the year. Yeah, again, just same stuff we talked about. HAARP's real name, the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program, 223 in the most pure cipher. Patented on the 223rd day of the year. If you use the alphabetic order, High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program is 457. If I remember right, this prime number might be like the 88th prime. I got to look that up. But Earthquake and Satanic Gematria, which is a simple cipher. Again, I don't normally talk about Satanic Gematria, but where's he got it at? We got it here. Again, the way this cipher works is very simple. It just starts at A is 36, and it counts up. B is 37, C is 38, up to Z is 61. It's just counting from 36. And again, if you write out Satanic Gematria, it's 666. 666 is the 36th triangular number. So again, it shows how well thought out the English alphabet is, being 26 letters, having these different ciphers running through it that are related and overlapping. And again, Satan's just got that 55 in it, right? Satan's got that 55 in it. And to make the point about 55 with Earthquake's got the 55, and same with military. And again, I mean, what's more evil than the U.S. military? And so many people think it's good, Because again, they haven't studied. They don't understand that evil things hide, behind shiny labels and slick marketing. Doesn't the new military advertising just make you sick? Like advertising to video game players. It's like, what in the fuck, man? And you literally got people like sitting in buildings with joysticks, flying around drones, bombing and killing people like it's a video game. Again, you guys, we're deep in the game. There's a lot of things to be outraged about. A lot of you are like, dude, Zach, you just gotta chill out, man, and find that good vibration. It's like, yeah, there is something to that, but have you ever thought about like what's going on in the world that you're kind of not doing anything about and just thinking like all you can do is worry about your good vibrations? Should have been on the Beach Boys. Anyway, these are not the right kind of vibrations that could be coming to Seattle. But I'll tell you what, if there's a city that needs to go into the sea, let the Kraken take it. And by the way, for anyone watching out there that's like snickering and be like, oh, this is stupid. All right, here, dumb motherfucker. Let's go over something real quick. You see how Seahawks equals 48 when you run the alphabetic order in reverse? Remind me what Super Bowl they won. 48, right? And notice in the most pure cipher, Seattle Seahawks is 43, right? How many points did they score in Super Bowl 48? Was it 43? Sure was. significant number. Remember, football's 43. We just saw Brady win at 43 after he went down to Florida. 43 American football is credited to Walter Camp, who went to Yale. 43. The 43rd president was in office when Brady took over. The election came down to Florida, where his brother Jeb was the 43rd governor and his dad was the 43rd vice president. But again, just look at this. Seattle Seahawks is 43 in the most pure cipher. Again, remember, I told you if you can only have one cipher, it's this one. If you can only have one cipher, it's this one. Seattle Seahawks 43. Mariners 43. That's the big baseball team. If you run it in reverse, Mariners is also 56. The Mariners were getting rocked last night by Houston, who's had some weather shit going on, some crazy shit going on by the numbers, connected to sports. Remember this Perryville thing, big 56 thing too they put on it. But Mariners 43, and what's the new team's name? Seattle Kraken 43, right? And I've been talking about for years how 43 is such a big number in Seattle sports. Again and again. And they got to put it on the Kraken team. And again, the word Masonic is 43, and their big number is 47. And of course, Seattle's on the 47th parallel north. The Space Needle used to do its rotation in time every 47 minutes. Its rotating restaurant time's got the 47. The tropics 47 degrees apart. There's a reason. There's a reason behind all these numbers. But yeah, I do think this could be a signal for old Seattle here, and yeah, just the way they do things. I mean, that's how it is often when I'm looking through history. I'm like, holy shit, look at how the mayor number was right with that disaster that happened in history at the time. Natural disaster 56. Scumbag Jenny Durkin, the 56th mayor. Remember, coronavirus started in Seattle, the huge 56 thing. All these Jesuit pawns up in Seattle from Bezos to Billy Gates. But yeah, the Perryville thing makes me think the August 11th thing's even more possible. So, and I could be wrong, and maybe it's not Seattle yet. Maybe it's another city, but the Kraken thing is a sign. There's a reason they've been telling us our whole lives this horrible earthquake is coming. And again, I will remind you, I went to Arizona State University. Anybody can look up this professor, John Holloway. I don't know if he still teaches there. He'd be pretty old now. I graduated from ASU in 2005. I started there in 2001. September will be 20 years ago. Well, end of August, actually. I guess next month, end next month will be 20 years since I started college, just weeks before 9/11. It's when it all changed. But John Holloway, he was a science professor I had there, and he said multiple times in the semester I had him, he warned us to not live in Seattle, which to me was curious because I'm from the Pacific Northwest and my friends were in Seattle at the time. I moved up to Seattle right after college. I've had to fade the John Holloway information. I just wanted to be around the friends. But The reason he said not to live in Seattle is because of the two natural disaster threats to that city. Mount Rainier. If you look up, Seattle is actually ranked as one of the 30 most dangerous cities to live in the entire world. Because if Mount Rainier erupted again, parts of Seattle, south end of Seattle, Tacoma, all the cities down there, south of Seattle could be in trouble. You know, Kent, Renton, Tacoma. Because all of that stuff is built on the mud flows of Mount Rainier's last eruption. And if you've never been to Seattle on a beautiful day when the mountain's out, I mean, you see how huge Mount Rainier is. Portland is surrounded by mountains. Portland has all these beautiful mountains you can see, and they're nice. They're pretty to look at. They're smaller. Like, if you're thinking of mountains as like feminine and masculine, it's like Portland's surrounded by these beautiful female mountains, but then you get to Seattle and you see Rainier, and Rainier looks like, you know, it's a mountain on steroids. It's huge. And it's considered an active volcano. And the way science has it is it's on the timeline of it could erupt tomorrow or in a million years. So it's like, that's not really that practical. Tomorrow or a million years. But from a science-minded guy like John Holloway, that's a reason to not live there. And plus, it is the city they've been forecasting earthquakes for since forever. And I was like 5 years out of college when PBS did that thing about the earthquake coming to Seattle. So, and again, just living up here our whole lives, they've had us preparing for the big earthquake, what to do, what to get under, where not to be. And I'm sure they do that in other cities that are prone to earthquakes, but there's just been a lot of fear programming about the big one coming to the Pacific Northwest. And yeah, I think the Kraken is not a good sign. I think the Kraken is not a good sign. Remember, Jesse Ventura said what he did as a Navy SEAL as part of their missions was to go down and plant bombs along the Pacific Rim in the ocean. That's something Jesse Ventura revealed. Same guy who said when they build the wall, that's a sign they're intending to keep you in. Pretty soon you can't cross borders unless you got your, criminal corporation injection. But, yeah, I think it could be time. It could be time for that. It's the big shakeup time. And again, things like that they need their narratives, right? Man, between the aid for the pandemic and then the U.S. government having to rebuild a city like Seattle, if it was something like this, right? Man, it was too many things. It sent the stock market haywire. They just need a narrative for us, right? That was what put us over the top. The big quake that took down, the great city of the American Northwest. Don't forget where the COVID started. So hopefully none of this happens. None of this could happen. I could be reading too much into it, but I'm telling you, this is a little bit too interesting here. About 56 miles, Perryville, right after the Kraken thing. Because I just been watching it. I've said this many times over the years since they announced this thing. I said, I don't feel like that's the right team that you want coming to your city in light of the way these people operate. A big monster from the sea? We'll see. We'll see what it all means. By the way, on the 29th, just look how CNN keeps it real simple on the 29th. They had to emphasize something on the front page that paid tribute to the date, right? So they emphasized the no, a telling no on House Republicans' anti-mask vote. What's no equal 29? What's the day? The 29th, right? And on a Thursday, we got a big Catholic headline, Catholic cardinal. He's been sexually abusing younger people for many years. CNN, they decided to go back and recount one of those stories. Guess what year they went back to tell you the story? 1974. This man of Jesus back in 74 molesting the youth. And again, if you guys are new here, the most simple cipher, which is literally called Simple English Gematria, Simple 74, English 74, Gematria 74. Again, this man of Jesus, Jesus 74, Cross 74, Messiah 74, Gospel 74, Parable 74. Rambo was teaching us about the Catholic Church and the mutable cross yesterday. Mutable 74. Interesting, right? The mutable cross. And, this nation's birthday, this Masonic, Jesuit, Christian nation. But anyway, they had to go back to the story from 74. And I realize that's 47 years ago, right? That's 47 years ago. Again, base ciphers. Well, here, I think I have it all in the post. Easier just to show it. Vatican and Francis are 47. But again, government, authority, Christian, obey, they're all 47. Words like President, White House, D.C., they're all 47. France, 47. The Jesuits from France came to power in D.C. D.C., a lot of the founders studied it in France. D.C., laid out by the French Freemason L'Enfant. Again, just the same number patterns, right? 47. So they got to give you a story 47 years ago about the sexual abuse. And then also in the headlines today, you got the racist German in Japan. And, of course, the news comes on his 47th day of his age, and we've talked about this before. The other year, the MLB was digging up all these players' old tweets, like racist tweets from years ago when they were younger. Remember when they were doing this around the time of the All-Star game? I think it was 2018. Racist. It was, because race is 18. I made that point. But it was like every picture they dug up had a 47 clearly connected to them. Like the news broke on the 47th day of their age, or their name equaled 47, or their team was on 47 wins. And again, just racist 47, right? And in the background, I mean, for how many years, when I do these smaller ones, you can't really see, but for how many years has the license plate been back there that says, what is 47? Because again, that was the number that really got me started. Just 47 everywhere. And I just knew there was something to 47. But just day after day, it's just the same shit, you guys. It's the same shit. The racist German in Japan, I mean, how do you not see through the mockery? This whole thing is rigged theater. 47 years ago. They could have told you about a bunch of years. They said this started 50 years ago. Well, that's 1971, Catholic 71. But, I mean, they could have picked a bunch of different years. They had to go with 74, right? Because they always do, 74, 47. Exactly why I clued in on the news, because it's like this all the time. By the way, this guy's birthday is June 13th, right? What is June 13th? That is the day leaving 201 days left in the year, right? So this racist agent, he's even got a 201 connection. And what's the story of Adolf Hitler? Remember, Adolf Hitler supposedly died at age 56. He supposedly committed suicide, but nobody ever found his body. Adolf Hitler, 56, dead at age 56. They say he was protected in Argentina by the Catholic Church and the Jesuits for the rest of his life. Many historians contend that. Pope Francis is the first Jesuit pope from Argentina. And, I mean, doesn't it all make too much sense? Adolf Hitler's 56 and 187, like Society of Jesus. You know, just like Paris, France, where the Jesuits are from. Now you're reaching. I hate people say that shit to me. It's like, where do I ever reach? I feel like every point I make is rock fucking solid, man. All you guys have are like these cooked up program responses, and don't you think you're going too far, bro? And then you're like, well, what? Well, like, man, like, I heard you say 56 and 201. Those are like, what else? It's like, what else, man? Have I showed you this room over here? I'm starting a shooting gallery. It's all the plastic on the floor. I'll tell you about it later. I mean, that's where I am, you guys. I gotta be honest, man. It's just like, forever purge? Okay, maybe I'm into it, man. A lot of people need to go. You guys remember June 13th, speaking of which, I tried to put it on them. I tried to go to Jesuit Seattle and educate about Event 201 on June 13th, the day leaving 201 days left in the year. I said, let's see how this goes. Let's see if I can harness the power of the numbers like they do to get the word out there. Well, as soon as I get there, there's a guy waiting for me on the corner, and he says, if you say a word into that megaphone, I'm going to drown you out all day with this mega speaker. And he sat there all day, all 8 hours with this mega speaker, and literally the first fucking song he played was early in the morning, just blasting it in Pike's Place Market. I Kissed a Girl, Katy Perry. I Kissed a Girl. I didn't know this. This was pointed out to me days ago, and it just pissed me off. I was like, that was the first fucking... A guy called and he said, you know the first song he drowned you out with was a 201 song? I was like, I didn't realize that. He's like, I was like, it was Katy Perry, I Kissed a Girl. And then Hakuna Matata, and then it was Snoop Dogg. Just the music he was playing was so damn random, and I was like, what? This is an impossible playlist. It was a fucking ritual, man. That guy sat there for 8 hours and drowned me out with music, starting with a 201 song. You guys don't think we have the eyes of these people? I've known that from what I've had to live through for all these years, but... It just shows you, man, these people, they got agents all day, they got resources all day, and they don't like what I'm doing, and fuck them, I'm going to keep doing it. So, my attitude, I'm telling you guys, I don't think I'm going to be able to help it. I'm going to be an even meaner, more asshole-ish person than I already was, because that's just what time it is, but I'm not going to let down the pace like I did in July. Putting my foot back on the gas. So, again, you know... I don't even know if that was a mental break, what I just went through, but I definitely haven't had as much output, and it's just because I've been lacking motivation and filled with doubt. And honestly, I don't know if any of that's changed inside, but I realize my mission is to bring about some positive change, and it's not going to be happening by being, the mopey, whiny person. So we're back here, we're getting out the word, and hopefully we wake up a few more people today. And I'm just going to maintain that attitude. If we're going out this way, then I'm going out at least trying to wake up a few more people each day just to improve our odds. I mean, it doesn't look good, you guys. I mean, it doesn't look good where we are. I think you all know that, but... Yeah, I just know there are a lot of people in the world who do appreciate that I put out content because it makes them feel less alone. There was the birthday video, the guy who explained that he literally was going to commit suicide until he found my work, and it gave him some hope. So I don't want to make somebody go back to feeling suicidal because they see I'm down and out, and then they're down and out. And remember, we had a great member of this community who supposedly committed suicide. A story that never made any sense to me. But again, I don't want to be the reason that somebody gave up on the world, because I honestly, in the last month, I was kind of giving up on the world, and I try not to be that way. But I guess everybody has a limit. And yeah, man, I'm fine in mine, but again, I just realize It's not when the times get tough, the tough get going. I mean, I've been tough, but fucking A, I'm tiring out. It's not the time to tire out. Maybe what I do need to happen is have Seattle. I hope Seattle does get smacked on August 11th. Then we can maybe wake up these fucking idiots right in my own backyard. That'd be helpful to me ultimately in the long run. Bring on the Kraken. Be at Kraken games every day. Tell them what the fuck they did to this city. By the way, Big Al asked me if I realized that in light of the Delta variant, if Delta waves were the waves the brain was in when it was sleeping, and I'm sure I learned that somewhere along the way, but I didn't remember that. I said, no. I said, that's interesting. So Delta variant, people asleep. I just had to check the Gematria. Delta wave 93, Delta 93, Wuhan coronavirus 93, propaganda 93. Again, it is a number we've been talking about through the whole pandemic. That movie Contagion, with all the predictive programming for COVID, set in Minneapolis, the 93 city. Don't forget, Minneapolis, Minnesota 93 on the 93rd Meridian. Big basketball star there from Gonzaga, going to be the number one pick in the draft. Jalen 93 scored the 93rd winning points of the day on the 93rd day of the year to send Gonzaga to the championship, where they laid down like they do year after year in the big game. Baylor gets the 28th win of the season in the 82nd tournament. Again, you guys, that one most pure cipher. Baylor University 82 won the 82nd tournament, getting the 28th win of the season over Gonzaga, which has the 28, like Baylor has the 28. That's why we said Baylor looked like they were going to win the championship once the game was set. I told all my people, you better hedge with Baylor, because all year I had Gonzaga for the perfect season, repeat in history in Indiana. I thought that's what they were going to do, but instead Indiana... Again, you guys, they canceled the Baylor-Gonzaga game in December, which was supposed to be played in Indiana, even though neither school is there, supposedly because of a coronavirus outbreak. And then they end up meeting in the championship in Indiana, the last team to have the perfect season 45 years earlier, and the game was on 4-5. It's just... Anyway, these people, man. So let's see. Did I cover everything? Missouri vaccine, Sunisa, Alaska earthquake, racist German. It's just the propaganda is just like such. It's so obvious programming, just targeting what people are already Oh, another racist German. A lot of Americans have that stereotype. They hear somebody's from Germany, they're like, oh, that's a Nazi. It's like, do you know how dumb that is? Was everyone in Germany a Nazi? But that's what happens. Your same classroom teacher that made you feel like every German was a Nazi was the same one that told you to, pledge to the flag and you're lucky to be an American because they don't brainwash people over here. By the way, emergent equals 42 like vaccine in the news today on the vaccine day. But... yeah, I think we covered all this stuff. So, well, I mean, look at these stories. Talk about tabloid news. She's living in ICU as her daughter battles COVID. What is that on Netflix now? What's that about? What kind of stupid ass story is that? I'm not even clicking on it. Click on her name. It probably equals 56. It's like, do I even make another post? I already showed a million more convincing 56 examples. Are people going to care about this one? Okay, I'm just making sure I hit them all. Yeah, I think I did. Okay, well, keep an eye on my BitChute in case this video ever processes. It's been processing since about 10 p.m. last night, Pacific. It's 1 Eastern in the morning. But... yeah, I just hate BitChute, man. I mean, I've tried to upload so many videos that just never made it here because it never can get past this processing. And Odyssey has normally been good, but Odyssey, I don't see it showing up. It looked like I've done it 2 times, and neither time is it there. Yeah, it's not there. This Odyssey backs up my videos, but it can only back up a live stream if it sits up for a while. And sometimes it does. It just skips the live streams altogether. But, yeah, it doesn't have last night's stream either. It got deleted so fast, so... Yeah, I'm gonna see. The web developers got to figure out a way for me to get through, because I don't want to chop up videos. I just want the video there if people want to watch it. I mean, it's annoying. Part 1, part 2, part 3. I hate all that stuff. So I got to get it so that there's 3-hour videos on there, and yeah, I. Oh my God. Are we not streaming? Are we not streaming? Okay, we are streaming. Thank God. I thought the stream was cut off. I had to go to that other window. I was like, no way this stream isn't going. Okay. Whew. That would have been... that's happened before. That's frustrating when that happens. You think you're doing a stream or you're making a video and then something's screwed up and you're like, what? I've been talking for 30 minutes? Okay, let's do it again. All right, well, we're going to leave it there. I haven't had it on the wrong screen, though, the whole time, have I? Hold on. Have I been on the wrong screen the whole time? I think it's okay. I think it's okay. All right, yeah, it's fine. All right, we're going to leave it there. So I'll be back soon enough, but... yeah, I'm gonna get back to my normal work output. But I still don't feel right, man. I'm not gonna feel right until I see something real in the world, you know? See some real damn effort. So. All right, until next time, Truth Seeker.